A man with long white hair is standing before a giant dragon. The dragon roars and initiates an attack on the man. However, the man lifts one of his hands and places the palm near the dragon's face. The dragon starts to freeze and gets shattered immediately. The man mutters that this is not enough and he should get stronger, as more dragons around him are shown getting frozen and shattered. The man keeps repeating the line about getting stronger until it flashes to a young guy in armor. This guy is also facing a dragon, but way smaller in size. The dragon flies towards the guy. The guy tries to block its attack, but gets flown backward by the impact. The dragon goes for another hit, but a little girl comes between them and stabs the dragon with her sword. The dragon's body freezes at the point of contact of the sword. The girl calls the boy Ragna and tells him to be cautious during battle. The boy takes off his helmet and thanks the girl while smiling. He calls her Leo. She jumps off the dragon and makes her way towards Ragna cutely. She complains about him not praising her as she has taught him. To that, Ragna pats her head while saying thank you. Leo smiles brightly and states that they are friends, so she would obviously help him. Dragon is an evil bloodline that has existed since ancient times. Dragons are humans' archenemies and predators. There are only two ways to eliminate dragons: by freezing their blood using the silverine emitted by silver weapons, or burning their bodies with the sun. Ragna and Leo let the dragon they caught burn in the sun. Leo keeps its frozen heart in a bag and tells Ragna to go home. Ragna and Leo are walking the streets of Ragna, a city in the Lee's kingdom. People in the streets start talking about Leo when they spot her. They whisper to each other that she is the prodigy Leonica, who has eliminated many dragons alone. After walking a little, Ragna and Leo arrive at the guild headquarters. They are dragon hunters who win bounties by completing quests of defeating dragons. Among all the dragon hunters in Ragna, Leo has finished off the most dragons. At the mere age of 12, she has become the most elite dragon hunter. Ragna believes that she will not stop there and get even stronger. They collect their bounty for their recent completed quest and head out for lunch. Ragna and Leo sit at a pub, having lunch. According to Ragna, Leo is called the ambitious dragon hunter and the one who is loved by the silver sword. People call her those names, laced with jealousy, but to Ragna, she is a hero. He snaps a picture of Leo while she eats and says it is his happiness to capture her splendid growth. A guy sitting at a table near them interrupts them and accuses Ragna of leeching off Leo, the prodigy. Ragna and Leo look at the guy blankly, and Leo asks him who he is. The guy gets irritated and yells that he is Sykes Charlike, with a hunting count right below Leo. Still with a blank expression, Leo claims she does not know him. Sykes gets frustrated, and his friends try to cheer him up. After calming down, he walks towards Ragna and calls him Leo's luggage, which only slows down a prodigy like her. At that, Leo pulls out her sword and points it at Sykes' face while he falls. She declares that she wants to be the strongest, and among the living, dragons are the strongest. This is why she became a dragon hunter. She asks everyone in the pub if anyone is willing to follow her on this bloody path. She will share land, money, fame, and whatever they need with them. Everyone looks uncertain, and the only one who raises his hand is Ragna. Leo smiles and says that is exactly why she likes him. She then announces she is tired, and they leave the pub to go home. Later that day, after Leo has been put to sleep, Ragna goes outside and starts training with his sword. He believes that he has no talent as a dragon hunter. Even if he trains all his life, he will never be able to reach Leo. That is why he will be happy just being useful to her and dying for her. The spirit of the old white-haired man from the beginning appears suddenly before him. Ragna does not understand what he is. He tells Ragna that he will lose everything, and suddenly fire appears around Ragna. Ragna sees Leo's body getting pierced at several points as she apologizes to him. Ragna starts crying and wakes up abruptly at the same place he was practicing. He thinks it was all a dream and hears "it's time" in that old man's voice. He spends the next day normally with Leo, walking around the city, shopping and cooking dinner. The next day, they go to the guild to find some quests, but the quest board has nothing. Everyone in the guild is complaining about the scarcity of quests. Leo gets disappointed too. Ragna suggests Leo cut off her hair as it is getting long. Leo happily complies, and Ragna does the job of cutting her hair later that day. As he finishes, the image of Leo dying suddenly appears in his mind. Even at night, he sees the same dream. The next day, people at the guild discuss that some dragons have grouped and moved to the east, which is why there are no quests these days. To the east, there is a city called Peru. Sykes says that the city has not been attacked by dragons for 10 years, so there is no way the dragons are there. His friend replies that he is unsure, but that is what he's heard lately. Ragna is engrossed in his thoughts. He does not understand if what he saw about Leo was a dream or not, because it did not feel like one. He also questions if that man was a spirit, or just his imagination. Leo pulls him out of his thoughts and tells him that he's been daydreaming way too much. She notices his dark circles and calloused hands. She asks rhetorically that he has been training more than ever these past days. She inquires what is the matter. Ragna holds her hands and asks her what he can do for her, not just taking care of her, but how he can really be useful to her. Leo smiles and tells him that she thought he would become as strong as her the first time she saw him. Ragna objects that he has no natural talent and can never become like her. Leo replies that as a prodigy, she can tell he has no talent as a dragon hunter, but her intuition says he will become someone strong. She does not know what will trigger that or when it will happen, but she's excited to find out. She hugs and assures him that she will protect him until that time comes. Ragna's parents were eaten by dragons. His relatives took him in, but they died at dragons' hands too. Then a noble family bought him, but the dragons burned that family's mansion. He encountered dragons many times and survived every time. When he thought he had no place to belong, Leo came into his life. She convinced him to become a dragon hunter along with her. As they fought dragons, Ragna realized how strong she was and could not imagine her dying before him, and now he only wants to be with her until the dragons end him. He wakes up with tears in his eyes, seeing the dream of her dying again. The next day, all dragon hunters are gathered at the guild. It is announced that Peru was demolished after a horde of dragons ambushed the city at sundown. The dragon hunters get assigned to eliminate the dragons that attacked Peru. Suddenly, they hear noise from outside and go outside to check. The city in front of them is burning. Ragna gets reminded of the scene in his frequent dream and tells Leo to run, or else she will die. Leo reassures him that she will not die and runs to the city to rescue people. There are tons of dragons attacking the civilians and burning things. At a place in the city, a man covered in blood emerges from a fire. 2 guards go near him to help him, but the blood on his body transforms into several spears and pierces them. The man changes his form, becoming an odd-looking dragon and human hybrid. The fire intensifies after he changes his form and declares that it's time for humans to die. Ragna sees the concentrated fire from afar and runs to the place. He hides behind a wall after seeing him. His body shakes as he thinks of Leo dying at his hands, standing in front of the man. Sykes wonders how a superior dragon can be here. The man gets near him and is about to attack him when Ragna appears from behind and tries to cut him with his sword. However, his sword breaks at the contact. The superior dragon utters a single line: "Blood is fire," and fire flies out of him, taking Ragna along with it. Ragna gets thrown into a river nearby. Leo sees Ragna and heads towards the superior dragon. She orders Sykes to look after Ragna, who has fallen into the river, as she finishes off a regular dragon. After Sykes leaves, she faces the superior dragon and furiously threatens to eliminate him for hurting Ragna. As Ragna falls deeper into the river, he sees the continuation of that dream. In that, he went on a revenge quest after losing Leo. His only goal was to get stronger and eradicate all dragons. He gained other comrades along the way, but they died too. It was a life of nothing but loss. Yet, he kept fighting and getting stronger. He kept pushing himself beyond his limits. Now, the long white-haired man is telling him that, in retrospect, he just wanted to die. Current Ragna is kneeling in front of him as he tells him that this is his future and also his past. Ragna has shock written all over his face as it registers to him that the man haunting his dreams is his future self. The old man tells him that he cannot forgive his past self because he made a little girl his hero and went lenient on himself. If he genuinely holds her dear, he should be able to protect her. He yells that he is now stronger than anyone. He can even match the Dragon King. He can protect anything, but he has nothing to protect anymore. He falls to his knees and clutches his head in his hands. He's having a breakdown over having too much useless strength. He screams and screams until Ragna interrupts him and runs towards him. He grabs the man by his collar and shouts at him to give him that strength instead. He yells that now is the time. His future self says that yes, this is what he was going to do. He pushes Ragna back and pierces his chest with his sword. His chest starts to freeze and his eyes get filled with tears. His future self asks him if he understands now how much he regrets not having enough power the day Leo died. In the real world, Sykes has taken him out of the water as he receives power from his future self. His real body screams and withers in pain. He has veins popping out of his face. Future Ragna says that the past and future have connected at this moment. Ragna is told that there is compensation for this power, but he answers that he does not care. All he wants to do right now is save Leo. Leo is breathing heavily after clashing with the superior dragon. He calls her tenacious, and she smiles, replying that she is a prodigy after all. She also calls him strong and asks if he is a dragon god. The enemy takes offense at that. He screams how dare she put such a lowly vessel as him together with the most revered god of their bloodline. He shoots a fire attack towards her while calling her an invaluable vermin. Leo dodges the attack and he introduces himself as Grimwald, Blood of the Wing, 10th seat. He is the lowest rank among the superior dragons. Leo gets on her guard after hearing that he is a superior dragon. Grimwald says that this city will crumble because the god his bloodline worships has taken a liking to sweets. Among all, Silver Chick from Donna, Peru is God's favorite. However, the shop was ransacked by robbers yesterday. That saddened the god so much that he ordered the destruction of the whole city and the country. Grimwald says that they decide things like the rise and fall of human nations as their gods will it. He claims that they have not even fought seriously with the humans yet. The dragon hunters are nothing in front of his bloodline. He asks Leo if she realizes just how powerless humans are and initiates an attack towards her while shouting, "Die." However, he does not launch the attack because he suddenly sees an illusion of something attacking him. He gets alarmed and senses that something is coming. Ragna tears down his armor and freezes some dragons. Sykes does not understand what is going on. Ragna tightens the belt on his waist while walking into a horde of dragons. He has his hair up and his body looks toned. He freezes dragons in his way just by touching them. He can do that because after years of battle, the silver sword became a part of him, and the conscience that he was the sword himself was born. His hand and sword had fused together at first, but he did not care and kept fighting, bearing the intense pain. After 5 years, his whole body had fused with the sword. His body itself turned into a weapon with Silverine. In 3 years, he found a method to increase Silverine in his body. In 4 years, he gained the ability to control Silverine at his will. And then 10 years later, he even stepped over the concept of human and perfected the ultimate battle art. It is called the Silverine Battle Arts, the height of dragon slaying. Ragna abolishes all the dragons in his way and dashes towards the superior dragon. He is so fast that he disappears, and when he appears in front of Grimwald, the odd-looking being has no time to react. Grimwald starts getting frozen and gets a certain feeling from Ragna. It is the feeling of the absolute leaders of the bloodline from him. They have the same feeling from the monarchs rather than God, the dread of the evidently stronger being. Grimwald gets enraged and turns into a full-fledged dragon, screaming about never fearing a mere human. He declares that this form allows the magic of the blood to be fully released in him, and this very form will be Ragna's end. As he shouts his attack name, Ragna lifts his palm and freezes his body without touching him. He says, "Shatter," and the body flies away, shattering into pieces. Ragna comes back to his usual form, and after the attack, Leo calls after him, and he turns around to see her. Tears start welling in his eyes as he runs towards her, his future self saying that he wished badly to have this strength before, and all he wants is to meet Leo once more. He throws himself at her and hugs her tightly. He starts wailing loudly and chants Leo's name repeatedly. Leo pats his head and reassures him that she is alive. She tells him that he has given his best. Ragna cries that she is wrong. The one who really gave his all is not him, and he is no longer here now. However, he knows about his life now and how much he wanted to meet her. Leo thanks him while Ragna is sobbing on the ground. Ragna's future self is standing in front of a short pink-haired girl. The place is filled with gears levitating in the air. The girl asks him if he died standing like this. She says she already told him there will be compensation for this. Even his past self would not get to live long after receiving that power. However, Ragna has a serene look on his face, and she wonders why it's like that. She says she has been with him for a long time, and it's her first time seeing his face without a frown. She continues that the rest is on his past self. She has put her hope in their past selves to make a world where all dragons are hunted. That day, 7 cities in Lys were attacked, including the capital. 6 cities were destroyed. However, it is also the day the Reaper of the Dragons is born. Ragna and Leo are back at an inn. Leo tells her about the condition of the city, and Ragna is looking at her in awe. He cannot believe that she is alive. Sykes enters the room and Leo asks him why he is there. Sykes screams at them because it is his house, and they are staying here because their inn got destroyed. He asks what they're going to do now, and Ragna replies that they should run away from the country, as God ordered the destruction of the whole country. Sykes finds all of it suspicious and asks him if he is really Ragna. The Ragna he knows has no talent or skill, so how did he defeat a superior dragon back there? Instead of answering, Ragna falls to the bed and goes into a slumber. Leah says that perhaps his strength came from Ragna giving his best in places they do not know about. Ragna mutters Leo's name even in his sleep, and Leo comforts him that she is here. She requests him not to say that he does not need her anymore. They suddenly hear some commotion outside. Leo and Sykes look out to see the trees and vines moving. Sykes yells that the forest is coming closer. The pink-haired girl sitting on a throne says, "Come, meet me, Ragna," because that is where it'll begin. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Remember to hit that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest content. Stay tuned for our next video, and until next time, take care.